What's going on, you guys? NewAge here, bringing you a new segment for our channel. Once again, a lot of those are going to be coming to you guys this week, as long as I get my DS, which, man, I really should. So anyways, this is the new segment, Pokemon of the Week. And what's going to happen is, we're going to be going on Serebii, and every Sunday they give us a Pokemon of the Week where they just talk about its moves and its abilities and suggested movesets and team builds and all that good stuff. I know they have all that kind of stuff on Smoggin, but I figured, you know, this is a Pokemon channel, and not everyone knows how to play Pokemon competitively, or maybe they just don't know basic things, which that's cool. Not everyone knows everything, like I just said. So I figured this would be a new segment for us to just learn about Pokemon together. So I thought that'd be really sweet. And it does it once a week, a different Pokemon every single time. So it'll just choose which Pokemon we do for us, and we'll go ahead and go over it together and then make a team, take it on the Pokemon Showdown, and see if we can just put in some work on Showdown using this Pokemon. So jumping right in, Pokemon of the Week is Carbink for this week. So, Carbink says the jewel Pokemon born from the temperatures and pressures deep underground. It fires beams from the stone on its head. It has slept underground for hundreds of millions of years since its birth. It's occasionally found during the excavation of caves. So I'm not going to read everything on here because I don't want this to take all day, but I do want to give you guys, you know, the basic information. So for the overview, this is just pretty much I don't know who writes these, but the person talking on there. So I'll go ahead and read this real quick. It says Carbink is an interesting Pokemon. It has a ridiculous amount of defenses, although not up there with Shuckle, and it has decent move pool. This Pokemon is not one you should use to attack, but rather you should use it as support. If you want to run a mixed attack and support one, then you may as well use Diancie if you can, since that doubles both attack stats. However, as Diancie is banned in official formats, you're a bit stuck with Carbink, but is by no means a bad thing. Carbink is an amazing support. So, see, what it does say is, I'm so sorry, everything's just squeaking here, I'm pretty sure you guys could hear that. Anyways, it says, where'd it go? It says you might as well just use Diancie if you can, but we can't, because Pokemon of the Week is Carbink, not Diancie. So we're gonna go ahead and use this guy. So the positives, its defenses are astounding with a base of 115 each, making it very bulky. Its support move pool is fantastic. It can Stealth Rock, set up screens, and Trick Room with very little concern that it will be defeated in one hit. Aside from one huge 4x weakness, it has great typing. And then for the negatives, due to its typing, Bullet Punch on a strong Pokemon will wreck it. It can't really attack that well. 50-50 base attack stats are not passable. Its bulk is hindered somewhat by base 50 hit points. It has really low speed, which means it will almost certainly be taking a hit before. And it says it's outclassed by Diancie. Well, we already know that, Serebii, but we're gonna use this just because we think it's a good idea. So, as for the abilities, it has Clear Body, which means its opponent's moves that lower stats will not lower its stats. And it says a decent enough ability on most Pokemon and prevents Pokemon from lowering its stats. However, most moves you'll find that do that don't affect Carbink in any damaging way. There you go. And then there's Sturdy. Pokemon will remain with 1 HP if it's going to be knocked out with a single move while it has full HP. Meaning, if you're going to be using Carbink for setup, and that's what it says here, this all but guarantees that Carbink will survive to at least make one setup attack, unless Mold Breaker, because that's a thing. So, straight to the movesets, we've got on the Carbink of Survival. That's hilarious. Serebii does that all the time, and I just love their puns for the names. This one has got Reflect, Light Screen, then says Stealth Rock or Trick Room, along with Moonblast, Toxic, or Safeguard. And the item suggested is Light Clay, Leftovers, or Rocky Helmet with the ability Sturdy. The EVs and Natures do 252 HP and then spread the rest out evenly between defense and special defense, which I love doing that. And then the Natures are either bold, which positive defense, negative attack, or calm, with positive special defense and negative attack. So we'll go ahead and read this here. It says this is the standard set you'll be wanting to run on Carbink. Reflect and Light Screen are core here, and if you choose to use Light Clay, they're prolonged. These will respectively boost the defense and special defense of your Pokemon for the duration. Not only is this useful for any future Pokemon, this can even allow for Carbink to be even more brutal and tough to take down. Next, you can use Carbink to set up Stealth Rocks, which is always handy, or you could go with the Trick Room choice if your team is set up for it. Next, Toxic can slowly jab at your opponents, though it won't affect the Pokemon Carbink is mostly afraid of, Steel types, but you're not going to be crazy enough to keep it out against one of them. Safeguard can provide the third of the screens, protecting your team from status conditions, while Moonblast is an option to prevent you from being screwed over by Taunt. That's true. Next set is Calm Diamond. It's Calm Mind, Moonblast, Power Gem, or Ancient Power, Psychic Explosion, and or Trick Room. The item attached is Leftovers with the Sturdy ability, and the EVs are full investment in HP, 128 to defense, and 128 to special attack, with a relaxed nature, meaning either positive defense and negative speed, or a quiet nature with positive special attack and negative special defense. No, speed. Sorry about that. And it says now, okay, now let's say that you're crazy enough. Say that you're crazy and want to run Carbink as an attacker. Yeah, there are far better options to do this, but with a bit of setup, which Carbink is fully capable, you can make Carbink a bit of a force to be reckoned with. The key to this set is Calm Mind. If you can get off a couple Calm Minds, then Carbink suddenly becomes usable. Moonblast is the decent fairy type move for Carbink. It's powerful, has stab, and can lower the opponent's special attack. Power Gem and Ancient Power are 2 rock type moves again with stab. Power Gem is more powerful, but with Ancient Power there's a 10% chance that all your stats will be raised by 1 level. It may be worth that risk. The final slot can be taken by others for coverage. Psychic is always handy. Explosion is good with the last ditch attempt to damage, and Trick Room can turn the tables on opponents and potentially allow Carbink to hit first. So then other options for attacks we've got was Clear Body Flail, Sharpen, Rest, Sleep Talk, Rock Slide, Stone Edge, and Substitute. Now it says Clear Body can be a good choice if you're using an offensive Carbink because it prevents your stats from being lowered. Flail is good if you're running a physical set with Sturdy. Gyro Ball is decent considering Carbink's speed, but it is a little bit too dependent on the opponent being much faster than Carbink. Rest, Sleep Talk, normal combination you see all the time on Pokemon. Or it says you could use just Rest on its own. It's unfortunately the only way to heal Carbink, so you need to be careful while using this. And then there's Rock Slide, Rock Tomb, and Stone Edge. Decent physical rock alternatives, but if you go physical, you're just asking to be susceptible to Intimidate. Rock Tomb lowers the opponent's speed too, which is always helpful. Sharpen can be used if you're going for a physical set to boost its attack to acceptable levels, and then Substitute goes without saying. With its defenses, Substitute could last a while and allow for Carbink to fully set up what it needs to set up. And then countering Carbink. While Carbink has decent bulk from its defense, its hit points are so low it can still be devastating. Your best bet here is a Bullet Puncher, such as Scissor, Mega Scizor, and Metagross. These, thanks to a 4x weakness, can do drastic damage to Carbink. All Steel type moves work in a similar manner too, so Pokemon like Aegislash with Flash Cannon would do wonders. Alternatively, you should go for options that chip away at the HP, such as through Poison, Burn, or Leech Seed. Taunt is also a great way to completely ruin a Carbink, so be sure to have a Taunter on your squad. Alternatively, just hit it continually with Grass, Ground, Water type moves. Since Carbink has little recovery, it's just a matter of time before it falls. So that's not fun to hear. There's also locations of where you can find Carbink in the game, and which games you can find them in, as well as appearances in the anime, but we are going to jump straight into the battling section of that. So give me just a second here to get things set up. So here, I went ahead and already made a team. Just gonna get that nice in position. Close enough, there you go. So I already made a team for the sake of keeping this thing within decent time. So I do like to do things a little different than what they say. I'm not going to copy exactly what they tell me to do on there because I do have some experience battling, so I do have a little bit of lenience when it comes to making team builds. If you are just starting out with building teams, I'd probably suggest doing whatever they give, just trying it out, because they do suggest what are preferably the best options for Carbink. So we do want to give Carbink a chance to shine, though. I don't want it to just be set up, because a setup Pokemon you normally just use to throw out some kind of entry hazard or whatever and then get it out of the way. But since Carbink is our Pokemon of the week, I don't want it to just get swept out of the way after it's done doing what it needs to do. So I've given it leftovers and substitute, so it can be a substitute Carbink. Also gave it Stealth Rock for that support, and Reflect, because I figure Earthquake is a lot more common than special attacks, and I mean, if it is going to stay out against physical Pokemon, that Reflect will work wonders. And then I also gave it Moonblast, just because it can lower the special attack and it's the strongest very special move that we've got. And I figure if it does go up against physical Pokemon, you know, physical Pokemon are normally more weak to special attacks, and then special Pokemon are normally more weak to physical attacks. So I figure if someone does throw a special Pokemon out against us, well, we're going to ruin its stats with Moonblast, lowering its special attack. So for the rest of the team, we got Magnezone with the Magnet Pull. Obviously, our Pokemon, Carbink, is weak to Steel, so we've given Magnezone with Magnet Pull, the Hidden Power Fire to hit those, the Thunder Wave to slow down any Pokemon that we get the chance to slow down, as well as Volt Switch for the Switch Initiative, and Flash Cannon for a strong stab move, which I'm pretty sure that lowers special defense, so that actually helps Carbink out too. Now, you'll see as a whole for my team, I have 3 Pokemon that are weak to ground moves. We have Carbink, Magnezone, and Arcanine, so I gave Magnezone the Air Balloon to give it a better chance of surviving the ground moves. And then also to help it survive ground, we got Mega Venusaur, which has Sleep Powder, Leech Seed, Giga Drain, and Sludge Bomb. I give it Giga Drain and Sludge Bomb because, I mean, I would give it Synthesis, but I feel Synthesis is more for when the team is about Venusaur. With this case, it's more just going to be weakening the other opponents. I figure Sleep Powder Leech Seed is good because then if I need to, I can switch out to Carbink, have it get some Leech Seed health, whatever helps to heal my Pokemon, right? Whatever helps to heal the Pokemon of the week. So, to cover more of our ground weaknesses, for ground flying types like Landorus, or things like that, I have a Greninja here with the Protein. I gave it a Life Orb, Ice Beam, U-Turn, Taunt, and Hidden Power Fire. Now I gave it Taunt and Hidden Power Fire for some of the starter Pokemon, like, not starters, some of the lead Pokemon. Because if they do have a Taunter out there on their team, I don't want to start off with Carbink because, like it said before, that will do some nice wrecking of our set. So I gave it Hidden Power Fire because I figure most of the lead Pokemon in OU are Bug types, or Steel types, or Grass types. So I figured Hidden Power Fire would be good, help me hit those Pokemon that try and set up at the beginning, and I also gave it Taunt because it's nice and fast, then U-Turn for more Switch Initiative. So then, I decided to get Arcanine with the Assault Vest and Flash Fire because, granted, most of our team is special attacking. Actually, now that I realize it, all of our team is special attacking, but that's okay because our team is mainly weak to physical, and a lot of OU is physical, so that's okay too. But I did decide to give it a Flash Fire to cover our fire weakness because Venusaur and Magnezone are both weak to fire, and Greninja, if it gets caught by a Charizard Y, we'd like to be able to switch it out to the Flash Flare Arcanine. So we got Flamethrower, Flash Flare boosted, Dragon Pulse just because it's another special move, Solar Beam for if I do switch out to the Charizard Ys, we could get our Solar Beam off with that nice boost and that one turn, so that's always great. Then, last but not least, we gave it Extreme Speed for the priority. And then we gave it Assault Vest so it could better take those special hits. So next, moving on, last but not least, we got Dragonite. So I did put Dragonite on the team because, like I said, we do have the ground weakness. So I figured better than just the Air Balloon, Magnezone, and the Venusaur, I'd cover it with an actual flying type Pokemon, which will be always immune to the ground. So that's what Dragonite's in there for. I didn't give it the multi-scale weakness policy sweeping set because this isn't about Dragonite, it's about Carbink. So this is a completely Carbink supporting set. I gave it the Lumberry so that way no one can mess with Dragonite while it's trying to help out Carbink. I gave it Thunder Wave to slow down the opponents even more, Ice Beam to hit ground Pokemon that I would switch into, or other dragons or flying types, all that good stuff. Ice Beam hits a ton of Pokemon. Then I gave it Roost to help it live longer, and Extreme Speed for some priority to pick off weaker targets if that's the case. So that's our team right there. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna message my friend real quick because I told him he could watch while we do that battle. So I'm actually gonna I won't pause the recording. Sorry about that. So this this has gone on about 16 minutes now, so that's not half bad actually. So that's our team. We're gonna go ahead and try it out. Head on into some OU battles. Not using our Steel team. Pokemon of the Week, Carbink. That's what I like to see. So let's go ahead, hit that search for a battle button, and get ourselves in an OU match. And see how this works out for me. So if you guys do like this series so far, go ahead, leave a like. Or if you have suggestions for how you might enjoy it more, or think I should try and do something differently, this is just a test run of the series, trying to get it to work out. So go ahead and let me know if you guys have some suggestions for that. Screen's a little bit off, can straighten it out there. Alright, so we're in. We are in. Oh, it's recording. There. I'm sorry, I like to have the screen like nice and perfect, so I'm moving it around, adjusting it a little bit. So it is taking some time loading. I'm sorry if my computer's slow. I'm gonna close the Serebii tab because we don't need that open anymore. So he's got the Mega Mawile, the where is it at? The Chestnut, the Heatran, the Chansey, the Quagsire, and the Goodra. So an interesting team here. He's got some fire support for himself, so he's not weak to fire. Plus, I'm assuming that's what the Quagsire is for. Chansey for probably healing his team since he does have some physical attackers, and then the Goodra, well, we'll have to see what that's for. So I don't really see any kind of well, actually, there are a lot of threats on the team for why I wouldn't want to start with Carbink. I'm thinking I'm gonna go ahead and start off with the Magnezone. He does have a lot of Steel type Pokemon, and if he uses something different, then I can just switch out, so that's okay. So he does start off with the Heatran. Actually, that is a very bad counter to my team. So that is something I really should have taken into consideration. I can assume he is going to go for the fire move, so I'm going to go ahead and go into Arcanine. Even though Arcanine doesn't necessarily have anything to hit this thing with either, I can pop its Air Balloon, and oh, it's the setup Heatran, so he can't hit me with the fire move, so that's good. I'm going to go ahead and hit him up with an Extreme Speed real quick, just to try and break that Air Balloon. So he does switch on to Quagsire, so that's fine. See, here's the bad thing about running Solar Beam when there's no sun. I can go for Solar Beam, but he could just as easily switch out since it's not going to hit on the first turn. So I'm going to have to do some more predicting as to what's going to be happening right here. I'm thinking I'm just going to switch on to Venusaur because I don't think this Quagsire can hit me with anything, especially if he goes into the water move. Or goes for the water move. So he does go for Earthquake. That is rather unfortunate, but I can go for the Giga Drain now. I'd assume he's going to switch out, so I'm not actually going to go for the Giga Drain or the Leech Seed. I'm going to go ahead and go for Sleep Powder and see what happens here. So, they do go on to the Goodra. If it is, I'm assuming Sap Sipper, it is going to boost the attack from that, so that does suck too. So if it is an attacking Goodra, not too sure how well this is going to go. I can try and predict a Dragon move. I'm going to go out into Carbink now. It should be rather safe. I don't take damage from the Dragon move. So there's the Dragon Tail. I am immune to that. So I'm going to go ahead and take this opportunity to set up a Reflect, since he does have a lot of physical attackers. This thing might carry the Iron Tail, which if it does, that may very well be the end for our Carbink, unfortunately. Maybe he'll miss, maybe not. So we're going to have to wait and see. If he switches out, then he doesn't have the Iron Tail. But Goodra does carry a lot of different moves, so it could easily have any kind of different move. So I'm assuming it didn't have anything, so that's good. We're going to set up the Reflect here, and then we are going to go ahead and switch back out into something else. I would hard switch out into Magnezone, but Magnezone I don't think could take 2 hits from this thing. Especially if it's going for the Iron Head. The damage is just going to stack up really fast, and I don't really think... Then again, we have Reflect up, so never mind. We're going to go ahead, go out into Magnezone, and we are going to Magnet Pull this thing and keep it trapped. So the Iron Head I'm sure is coming my way. That's fine, though we have the Reflect up, so we should be able to take this pretty well. So he doesn't go for Iron, he goes for Substitute actually. So I can only assume this is a Swords Dance setting up Mawile, meaning after one Swords Dance he's going to be hitting us for normal damage, but that's not good. So we're going to go ahead and go for a Hidden Power Fire, assuming we're going to be faster. Oh, what? Focus Punch? Wow. Wow, that's crazy. Okay, so here he's either going to have to... He's not going to be able to Focus Punch me because I am going to break the focus with the Hidden Power Fire. So I'm going to use this turn to see if he's faster than me. Hopefully, Sucker Punch doesn't kill. He went for Iron Head, so he is faster. He doesn't get the flinch off, so that's great. And Iron Head didn't do too much. So I know I could take another Iron Head. Hopefully Sucker Punch, like I said, won't kill me from this range because of the Reflect, even though I don't resist it. It's a little iffy, we're gonna have to see. Hopefully he doesn't get a flinch using Iron Head. It goes for Play Rough, and we just barely survived that, so that's gonna be the Mawile taken down, so that's great. Unfortunately, because of the Stealth Rocks being up, we aren't going to be able to switch out Magnezone here, so we're just gonna have to let it go down. Maybe if I'm faster, I can get this thing with the Thunder Wave. I don't think I'm faster. Yeah, there's the Fire Blast. I was pretty sure Goodra was fast. Really, honestly, I don't know why it's fast, but it is. That's just how it has to be. So I'm thinking I'm gonna go ahead and go out into the Arcanine now and see if we could hit a Dragon Pulse with this thing. I mean, the physical one runs Outrage, the special one runs Dragon Pulse, so he could be predicting the Dragon move either way. The bad news is Goodra is specially bulky, so that is going to be a bit troublesome for our team, especially if we can't use Venusaur to get the health off of it. So he is going to switch out. I'm assuming he knows the Dragon Pulse is coming. That's just fine. So that does do a nice chunk of damage, but we can't let this thing hit our Arcanine. So for now we are still... We can only assume he's going to go for the Earthquake, which actually... That is bad because we do have the counters for the ground Pokemon, but not not for Quagsire, because it does resist our Ice Beam. But I am gonna switch out to it, to Dragonite, just to take the Earthquake. Then I'm gonna assume he's going for something else. I'm gonna use this opportunity to go ahead and switch out into Carbink. And we're gonna play it a little risky here, because that's what it's coming down to. We need to get some damage off in this guy. He's got a very defensive team, so he does go for the Scald, unfortunately. Luckily he doesn't get the burn, so he can go for that again. He was going for Scald to try and hit my Dragonite. Let's see here. He went for Scald to try and burn me. I think. So we know Goodra has Fire Blast. I think I'm gonna switch out into Venusaur. This Stealth Rocks is messing up my team pretty well, I gotta admit. Definitely should have started off with Greninja. So here, I'm gonna assume he's going to go out into the Goodra, so I'm gonna play it safe and go for Sludge Bomb. I would predict that he is going to try it and predict that I'm gonna predict him going into Goodra and staying with Quagsire and go for an Earthquake or something. That'll probably finish me off, but I can't make that kind of risk. I have to play it safe, so I'm going for the Sludge Bomb right here. He is gonna switch, so we are gonna hit the Goodra with the Sludge Bomb, so that's good. It doesn't do anywhere near as much as I was hoping. That really sucks. So I don't know what he would go for. I'm gonna actually scroll up real quick to see. He did go for Dragon Tail the first time. I'm assuming he wouldn't go for Dragon Tail because he's trying to he does know I can switch out into the Carbink. I don't see this going very well for us, guys. This is looking pretty bad. We need to get rid of the Goodra somehow. Alright, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna switch out to Arcanine, either taking the Dragon Tail or the Fire Blast. If he does go for Dragon Tail, I'm just gonna go with whatever he switches down to. He does go for the Draco Meteor, but doesn't finish me off. So that's nice. Now here, I don't really know what I can go for. He can easily switch out into, say, the Heatran and take the Dragon Pulse just fine. I'm gonna have to go for it anyways, just because we need to do something to this team. And the Dragon Pulse isn't gonna do anything at all. It goes for the Dragon Tail. So, at this point, I was wanting something to go down, just because I needed to get a safe switch into something. I think here, I'm gonna go ahead and try and get Carbink to do something. Because his special attack is lowered, he can't hit me with the physical move. So I am first going to go for Reflect. He's probably going to switch out here. So that's going to give me a free turn to do that, so that's good. And then next turn, I'm going to try and go for Substitute and see if we could just start defending ourselves somehow. I haven't had a chance to set up the Stealth Rocks yet, which would be useful because he is switching a lot. So there's the Reflect. I want to try and say I'm faster, but I don't think I am. I'm going to try and go for Substitute. We might be losing this battle, so he does go for the Spikes, so that's good because we do get our Substitute set up. So here, as much as I would love to go for Moonblast, I'm going to go for a Stealth Rocks because he has a lot of hazards out. I need to get some out too, especially with how much switching is going on. I need to take advantage of that while I have the chance. And Spikes is just starting to get set up all over the place, so that's not good. So here, I can go for a Moonblast. Everything's nice and set up, so we'll see how that works. He does go for another Spikes. I'm going to see how much this Moonblast does. It does a nice chunk of damage, so that's good. He does have the leftovers on his Chestnut. Unfortunately, the Spikes are going to do a nice chunk of damage to everything that comes out. I'm assuming next time Venusaur comes out, it's not going to be able to do anything. So there's the Heatran. We are going to be able to pop the air balloon, so that's good. But this thing is just so resisted. We're going to go ahead and leave Reflect down because this is a special attacker. I'm going to try and lower its special attack using Moonblast. And we are faster. Can we get the special attack drop? No we can't, but he does go for the roar. Oh man, this is bad. This is really bad, especially because I don't have the water type move on Greninja. I do have the taunt though, so I'm gonna go ahead and go for taunt. Unfortunately, it seems like most of my team is gonna be able to go down to the Heatran. Man, so I'm gonna go for a U-turn here. Don't know what this thing is trying to use, whether it's a fire type move or anything like that. Don't have much of a choice here. Gonna have to go out into Dragonite. It's not gonna take the spikes damage, but it is gonna take a nice chunk from the Stealth Rock. So he did hit us with the Fire Blast. That did do a lot of damage. So I'm gonna go ahead and just try and rely on paralyzing this thing, just to see if it could be slower. Hopefully he doesn't go out into Quagsire, so he doesn't. That's great. So we are gonna get the Thunder Wave off. I don't know what this Chestnut could do to us, so I'm gonna go ahead and try and go for a boost, just to try and help us live longer, because this is just getting worse and worse. Hopefully he doesn't have the Rock move. No, but he has the Leech Seed. So that's not good either. I'm gonna see how much Ice Beam does, just to try it out. I can't always roost off damage, so he does switch out while I go for the Ice Beam. That is still gonna do a pretty nice chunk of damage actually, but he does have the leftovers and all that, so I don't really want this thing to get a whole bunch of health back. I'm gonna go for Roost, see what he has to do. He does go for the Scald, so no burn, so that's good. I didn't want to have to waste my Lumberry there, so I am gonna go ahead and can't even switch out because he does still have the Goodra. I'm just gonna go ahead and keep trying to hit this thing, I guess. See if I can get a freeze if I'm that lucky of a guy. We did get a crit, so that's good. He does go for the Scald again. I didn't want him to burn me because that is going to waste my Lumberry. But you know what? We have to put in whatever we can on this guy. We need to just hit him while we still have the chance. So that's going to do 31. So unless we can get a crit, it's going to do 2. It's going to take 2 more of those. Oh, never mind. It's going to take even more, because he's getting both the recovery from leftovers and Leech Seed. I would switch out so he wouldn't get the Leech Seed, but oh, that's right. Quagsire does get recover, so you know what? That's not gonna work. He's getting too much health back. We're gonna have to go ahead and go for a Roost just to get our health back. This is getting a little bit too stally for me. I'm glad we weren't getting burned. That is good. So I'm gonna go ahead and have to switch out into something else. I would switch out into Venusaur, then double switch into the Greninja, just so that way I could hit the Goodra. But he could then just switch out into whatever he wants to take the hit from Greninja. So that's not really going to be an option either. I'm just going to go ahead and switch out into Greninja. He's going to take a lot of damage from Spikes and Stealth Rocks and possibly end up losing. I can't say that, I really don't think we're winning this one. I mean, I can fight for as long as I can, but it really doesn't seem like we're going to be winning this battle. Ooh, yep, and we're probably going to die to the Scald. We don't die. Is he going to get the burn? No burn, so we do get a hit in, so that's nice. I'm just going to go for an Ice Beam. Hope I could get a nice chunk of damage off, but unfortunately, all these setups and everything, we get the crit! Right on, right on. So Quagsire is down. We are gonna lose Greninja because of the life orb, but man, I really should have done that from the beginning, I guess. That's not half bad, not half bad. So here we had to figure out what he's gonna be switching out into. Honestly, none of this is good for my team, just to be perfectly honest. I am just going to go on to the Dragonite. I can recover. The only thing is, if he does go on to Heatran, that is going to screw us over a lot. And I don't really want to be switching out just because of all the entry hazards. So, he does go on to the Chansey, so we'll see what we can do to this thing. Let me see. I'm assuming this thing has Heal Bell. I am gonna try and go for Thunder Wave just to be safe. So we'll see what happens here. Maybe I'll get paralyzed. No, I kind of predicted the Toxic, to be perfectly honest. Sorry, there goes my iPod again. All kinds of crazy. I'm gonna toss it to the other side of the room. Hopefully we don't hear that anymore. I'm gonna go for Roost, assuming that they're gonna go for Protect or Heal Bell or something like that. So it is paralyzed, so that's good. Unfortunately, this Chansey is going to be able to take a special move. So we're going to try and hit it up with an Extreme Speed, see if that'll do a nice chunk of damage. It's a crit, so it barely does anything, so that's not good at all. And we are slowly starting to take more and more damage. You know what? I'm going to have to... I'm going to Roost up here, then I'm going to switch out into Venusaur. Just going to have to let this thing go. Let Venusaur go. With the Heatran and the Chestnut and the Goodra around, this is not a match meant for Heatran. Not meant for Venusaur. We do see that it has the counter, so that's good to know for the later. If there is much of a later. So we'll see. We'll see. Yep, and there goes the Venusaur to all the entry hazards. We are going to rely on this thing being somewhat paralyzed. We are going to take all kinds of damage to the entry hazards. We don't have enough to make a substitute. Unfortunately, I was hoping we would, but we don't. I'm going to go ahead and get a Reflect up, just as kind of a last-ditch effort. Hopefully he's paralyzed. No, and it does have the Seismic Toss, so this is looking like it's going to be the end of our team here. We did end up going up against a very bulky team, so that's unfortunate that that had to happen. I'm going to try and hit this thing with the Ice Beam, see how much damage it does. The crit Extreme Speed did, wow, just way too much bulk for me to handle. I mean, I guess for the sake of putting up a fight, I'm going to go ahead and see how long I can last here. So the Seismic Toss combined with the Toxic, it's just going to be way too much damage for me to handle. Honestly, I'm going to go for an Extreme Speed, just get some more damage off. We do like to go down swinging in this game here, but there's the Seismic Toss. He wasn't paralyzed, so that's going to take us down. I am going to tell this man, good game, because you know what? It was a lot of fighting, and he just left, but that's okay. So this is going on 40 minutes, which is actually how long I planned for it to go for. So we aren't going to do a second battle, unfortunately. So that's Pokemon of the Week for you guys. We put up a good fight, but the team we went up against was just too bulky for us. So go ahead, look forward to the segment next week for a different Pokemon of the Week team. And yeah, go ahead, leave a like. Go ahead, subscribe to my channel, NewAgeSteel, if you want to see more of these battles. And you can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram to get first-hand information on what videos are going to be coming to you and when I put them out. So until then, keep on watching, guys. This is NewAgeSteel, and I will see you guys next time.